All right, thanks for watching Blitz. I'm Brian Carr here at Rabun County High School with Lady Cats head coach DeeDee Dillard. DeeDee, thank you again so much for always having me up here to talk about your team a little bit.
Yeah, we love having you.
Yeah, and we always are talking about good things going on too, so that definitely helps. This team 19-1 overall in the year. At the moment, as we're recording this, 4-0 in region play. Number 2 state ranking, which I know you care nothing about right now. But how would you sort of say that this season has gone to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been really, really good so far. You know, when you lose a group of seniors that we did last year, you're never really sure how a team's going to respond in terms of not really filling their shoes, because that doesn't happen, but who's going to step up and who's going to fill roles that we needed to. And I've been really, really happy with the way that our older kids have stepped up. You know, they know their role on the floor. They know how important it is to invest in our younger kids, so that, you know, that's part of how you have a strong program, is that you have older kids that invest in younger kids. So I think a combination of all that has really led us to have some success this year.
Yeah, I know I've mentioned that before, but that's what I admire so much about your program, is how you just every year reload. How much last year walking off the court in the state championship, falling just short of that ultimate goal, but still obviously a fantastic season nonetheless, but how much of that do you feel is driving what we're seeing this year from this group?
Well, I know for me personally, like I'm still not over that game, and I'm sure there's some of the kids that played last year. I mean, it was, we felt an opportunity to do something that had never been done here at the school, and unfortunately, you know, we just couldn't make it happen. And so I know for me, it's just given me kind of renewed purpose and energy. And I think for some of the girls coming back, and they just want it, and they want it enough to not let egos get in the way, not let selfish play get in the way. They just want to win, and that's what you see when you watch them play. You just see a group of kids that play hard and they just want to win.
Yeah, and this team right now, again, as we're taping this, so you have a game here in just hours from now, but 11-game win streak. So when you're playing like that and dominating the way you are, I know some of the games have been a little close, obviously, but how much of this goes back to the Banks County game? You beat them by, I think, 15 or 17 earlier in the year. Just had an off night for y'all, and they hand you that loss. What did you tell this team that maybe has sort of set the pace for this 11-game win streak?
Well, we looked at it kind of twofold. Number one, you don't let one win or one loss define your season, so you can't let it be a setback. But at the same time, I think it was a really good reminder that if you're not ready to play on any given night, you can get beat. Whether the team is better than you, the same as you, whatever, you have to be mentally and physically prepared to play. And, you know, I didn't do a great job getting us ready for that game, obviously, but I think the girls realized they didn't play their best either. So, you know, I think at that point, you know, I was talking to Lucy after the game, and she said, you know, I think in the long run it might be good for us, because, you know, it reminded us that, you know, we have to compete every game. And we're not, I tell the girls all the time, you know, we're good, but we're never good enough that we can't come in and not compete.
Right, absolutely. And you hate to say like there's such thing as a good loss, but like Lucy says, I mean, if you get something good out of it. So talk about, you know, have a chance to talk about all your players if you'd like to, but you have a pair of juniors that are just phenomenal, and Lucy Hood, and there's others too, obviously, but Ellie Southers as well. How big are they to the success of this team? I mean, obviously they flood the stat sheets every night, but how special of players are they?
Well, just talking about Lucy, I mean, she's my only returning starter. This is her 3rd year starting for us, so I think she's been kind of a steady presence, you know, with kids coming up and learning new roles. And she's really one of the most unselfish players I've ever coached. I mean, if you look at her stat line, you know, I think in the Tulip Falls game she had 18 points and 10 assists. Like, she loved sharing the ball, sometimes too much. We really worked with her this year on just encouraging her to look for her shot too. So she's a special kind of point guard. And then Ellie, I think she's just so fired up to be back on the court after missing last year. You know, she comes in during her lunch period and gets up extra shots, and she's like a really good example of resilience. You know, just not letting a setback determine how your future is going to look. So, you know, they're both special talents, but I think what I love most about this team is that Ellie and Lucy don't really care who scores, who gets the credit. They're just as happy when Tria makes a big play, Mary, you know, if JC comes off the bench and hits a 3.
Or Millie,
you know, Millie's playing fantastic defense. I mean, she's really what makes us go in a lot of ways in terms of just the pace that we like to play and just that. You talk about tough. We kind of tease her all the time. We're like, that's Black Rock Mountain tough right there, which if, people in Rabun County will understand that. But I feel like it's a complete team effort, honestly. As good as Lucy and Ellie are, and as much attention as they get, they're both pretty humble, and they really, really want their teammates to get attention and credit too. And I do too, because they deserve it. If of any team I've coached, this might be the most team first mindset that we've had, and so that
says a lot.
Yeah, they've been really fun to coach.
Yeah, and I love that blend that you always have senior leadership like Tria and Mary, and then you've got the young up and coming players like a JC, and then you got the veteran in between players that are lower or upperclassmen. So you got a good blend.
Yeah, and I have a senior, Bailey Maloney, who doesn't start, and she doesn't get hardly any recognition, but she is really in a lot of ways kind of the one that keeps us all together. She keeps us organized, she keeps us in line. She's a great presence on the bench. She's really a definition of what a teammate should look like.
So DeeDee, I know you said not one game dictates, either win or loss, dictates how a season is or whatever like that, but the Elbert County game, what an incredible atmosphere, and to come out with a win on the home court. What kind of statement do you feel like that made for this program?
Well, I think it just shows, Elbert brought everybody back, and we graduated 7, so you're just never really sure how your kids will respond in an environment like that. We had our rec night, so we had tons of people here. So I think for my girls, it was just proof that the hard work that they're putting in is paying off. They were so excited. They were locked in, and again, I think it just speaks to the grit of this team. They're just a tough team, and they just are determined to win and do whatever it takes to win. And I really thought even our bench energy was great. So just from top to bottom, I think again it just shows the girls that even if people tell you that, I don't know that they felt like the odds were stacked against them, because I feel like they think they can win. But at the same time, people may doubt you, but you just got to put the work in, and the work will show itself when you get on the court.
So DeeDee, I know every year your team has sort of a motto or slogan that you go with that ties into the theme of the season, and this year is Beat Yesterday. How did you originate that and choose for that to be the message you wanted for this team, and what's the meaning behind it?
Well, part of it obviously comes from the fact that we want to do better than we did last year, but I think for this particular group, since we graduated 7 seniors, and I knew we would have 8 freshmen coming up, 4 new starters, that we really wanted to develop a growth mindset. So this is a day-to-day kind of tracking that we do. So every shooting drill we do, we track those, and the girls earn rewards based on how often they beat yesterday's performance. So it's just kind of a day-to-day reminder that you're not competing with your teammates. You're competing against yourself. Like, you want today to be better than yesterday in terms of effort, in terms of performance. And so that's kind of what I wanted going in, just knowing that we would have to get better each and every day if we wanted to compete again for a region title. So
yeah, and ultimately get back to the state championship.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I know it's a tough question, but for this team to get back to that point and walk off as champions, what do you feel like this team has to do to make that happen?
Well, we have to continue to improve, and I have to continue to do things better as well as a coach. So I think it's going to take a lot of things to go right for us. I mean, we're obviously shooting the ball really well right now. That's going to have to continue. We're going to have to continue to play great defense, which I think we have been, and then I think just overall maintaining that team first mentality, which has really, I think, been a difference maker for us this year.
Well, I have a great feeling about the rest of the season. Thank you so much for having me. Congrats on the beginning of the year. I know that your mission is far from complete, so I look forward to seeing how it all finishes for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you.